So it took me around 7 months and two attempts to get to a decent score. Yeah, so I came around to MCB. I mean, once I gave my GMAT just for the profile to at NYU Start. But I had only like 2 years of work experience by matriculation in 2024. I waited for one more year, and I improved my profile. Yeah. So I applied to the top finance school, Wharton, CBS, and stuff. I thought maybe max to max I could get admission without scholarship, but not a full ride from here. So yeah, I mean, it's not over until this give a rejection mail to you. So yeah, connect everything that you have done prior, like maybe in work, it's maybe in your college days or even before that, and try to connect it with your post-MBA goals. So I did biological sciences in Pilani, and also like try to not sleep on your essays if you get a decent GMAT score. Most of the applicants later on, I've seen like the people with significant scores getting no scholarships or even rejected from uh, schools.
What does it take to get into an elite business school? MBA Crystal Ball is a boutique admissions consulting firm. Each year, we help a select few applicants get into the world's best business schools. Here's one of our success stories to inspire and educate.
Hello and welcome to MBA Crystal Ball. Today we have with us a stern admit who's having a full ride. That's almost 200K USD in a scholarship in financial aid. And his story is quite interesting. Let's hear it, how he did it. Welcome, Divy.
Hey, Hamish, thanks for having me here.
Absolutely pleasure. Okay, so, to begin with, can you just give a, brief introduction about you? What do you do? What kind of education did you have?
Yeah, so I graduated in 2023 from Pilani. I did chemical engineering along with biological sciences, master's in science. Besides that, I also did minors in finance. Like basically in second year, my interest in finance grew, and that's why I thought to pivot to finance career. And then later on in the final year, I did an internship in credit Suisse for a year in market risk department. And that's how I started my career in finance. Post that, I worked in ICICI Bank in Forex department as a product manager for two of their deal booking platforms. And currently, I've been working around in Morgan Stanley in credit risk. Yeah, that's been my journey.
Sure. And I mean, Morgan Stanley is one of the coveted employers. So when and how did you start thinking of an MBA? And also explain, share your journey with GMAT.
Yeah, so basically, I gave my GMAT exam while I was in ICICI. So it took me around 7 months and two attempts to get to a decent score, which is well uh, appreciated in major M7 or like top schools. Later on, I pursued CFA L1 as well because my post MBA goal was to pivot into healthcare investment banking. So I was looking at how I can prepare myself to be ready for my pivot. And before applying, I knew like I have to do my homework as well. I need to get into relevant banks, do relevant courses as well, so that the outcomes will think that this guy has done his work and he's ready to make a transition. So that's why I went with CFA L1, and then later on I also like pivoted into Morgan Stanley credit risk department because later on I wanted to get into the MS only in IB division. Besides that, I've also done some Wall Street versus uh, investment banking courses and financial modeling course from Wall Street Prep as well. So that has been the journey for me while on how I thinking of pivoting into investment banking.
Right. And I think you had a pretty solid score of 735. So any tips, or kind of resources that you'd like to share, which help you get there?
Yeah. So I started with a 435 score in my whole diagnostic mock. I knew that that has been a very low score, and it would take a significant amount of time to get to a certain level. So my cousins referred GMAT courses in their time and got her into ISB. So they recommended me to as well for that GMAT course. I had checked their trial version and liked the architecture of the course. So yeah, I also like went with that. Along with that, I also did in GMAT clubs question. The ability to particularly select a subset of questions and work on it. That has been a very good advantage for me while I was working from GMAT club. And other than that, official guides for TI from MBA.com was also helpful. I did it like that particular book for around 15, 20 odd days because my DI was quite bad. So yeah, that has been also quite important to me. Yeah, so it took me 7, 8 months and as I mentioned earlier, 2 attempts. Earlier I got 6 months back, but mostly due to my issues in TI timings, which I uh, had it corrected in the second attempt. So yeah,
Got
these
it.
are the resources.
Got it. Fantastic. I mean, so you had, an excellent score, but slightly lesser experience, right? I mean, so help us understand, how did you kind of go about deciding whether to work independently, and how did you kind of choose to work with MCB? How was your experience working with MBA Crystal Ball?
Yeah, so I came around to MCB. I mean, once I gave my GMAT just for the profile review and all. And I was like, if I should apply that year, at NYU Start. But I had only like 2 years of work experience by matriculation by them. So yeah, I've gotten the feedback on how it's not that ideal to go now, given the median experience is around 5 years in top B schools in US particularly. So yeah, it's instead of applying on that in 2024, I waited for 1 more year, and I improved my profile, uh, did relevant courses, pivoted to MS and all these things. So and then in 2025, I applied with NCD Pistol Ball. So my consultant was also like a Stern alumni himself. So that particularly helped a lot. He knew a lot about the school, the culture about it, uh, also from the EdCom perspective as well. So yeah, that has been my.
Got it. Got it. Excellent. Help us understand what all schools did you apply to, and any sort of things that you may remember, from the interview experiences that you had.
Yeah. So I applied to the top finance school, Wharton, CBS and stuff. The interview was pretty chill. I mean, they didn't grill me at all. So I think the main concern for them was if this guy can get an employment post MBA. I mean, at this time, I think most of the schools are thinking about it. And so, yeah, I think I covered pretty well about it on how I did my homework previously and how, I'm looking to pivot within the same band. So they knew that, I can, have a job in investment banking post MBA. So that's how, I convinced them that I'll be a pretty good shot for the recruitment scenario.
Sure, sure. And talk to us about what was going on in your mind as you were waiting for the results. How did you feel when you got the admit and the scholarship?
Yeah, so basically, I was waitlisted at Columbia and was then without interview at Wharton and Boot. So I didn't think much about Stern as well. I thought maybe max to max I could get admission without scholarship, but not a full ride from here. So yeah, I mean that's that's a big black box to me. You don't know whether we get in or whether we get a scholarship or not. It's like quite a very big gray area, uh, uh, according to me. So yeah, I mean it's not over until there's give a rejection mail to you. So yeah,
That's right.
hope for
That's
the
right.
best, and yeah.
Yeah, I remember you were ecstatic when the results came. Any sort of, tips for people, now that you've kind of gone through this journey, right? I mean, anything, any one or two things that you think, people should think about, which you learned as you went into the process.
Uh, sure. First thing would be try to connect everything that you have done prior, like in maybe in work, it's maybe in your college days or even before that, and try to connect it with your post-grad goals. So, I did biological sciences in BITS Pilani, and I connected it with my, post-MBA goal of getting into healthcare investment banking. So my master's in science helped me getting uh, I leveraged it in understanding all the healthcare sector knowledge that has been, and all the trends in recent 2 to 3 years. So yeah, connecting every dots, using every things that you had done earlier, thinking about it. I mean, it's very important to at least think about all of those things for a good amount of time. Is what I have learned, and also like try to not sleep on your essays. If you get a decent GMAT score, most of the applicants, not most, like a few of the applicants I've seen, if they get a decent GMAT score, they usually don't give much time on the essays and think that my score would cover up all the the gaps in my essays. But later on, I've seen like the people with significant scores getting no scholarships or even rejects from the schools. So yeah,
Sure. Thanks so much for sharing this, Divy, and we'll be very closely watching your career progression. All the best.
thanks a lot. Likewise.
We hope you found this interview helpful. At MBA Crystal Ball, we've helped many applicants get into the elite business schools, often with scholarships. Reach out if you're looking for professional help with your applications. Good luck.